Should I start over? No. Well, as I was saying, I don't want to keep you guys going, waiting too long. You got important things to do. So I have a couple topics I want to touch base on, and then, like we always do, kind of have a opening for some Q&A. You guys can ask questions about what's happening and with the school and whatnot. First, I want to start by saying thank you for coming. I know that it's not easy to get here. You guys got stuff to do. I want to also thank our PTO and all the volunteers that helped to pull off the carnival. That was very impressive, and I said that last night at the PTO meeting. So that was really great to see my first go around. I was impressed by that and look forward to doing that again soon. A couple topics I wanted to touch base on today, and I didn't do a PowerPoint because I figured it'd be better to just kind of have a conversation. I'm going to talk a little bit about hiring season, which is right now what all the schools are dealing with, is trying to find new people for those vacancies and what our positions are. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the staffing changes that have occurred, some people that have retired, some people that have moved grade levels, things like that. And then I'm also going to touch base on some of the stuff that's been going on day-to-day recently. First things first is our open positions, right? So we have grades 4, 5, 6, an honors position, a resource position, and a halftime computer position that we are hiring for currently. The district kind of has a process in which they have a meet and greet so that people who are looking to move around or make a change can interview for those or meet the principals at the schools and talk about those vacancies, and then we can kind of decide if we want to pull them in for interviews. We have met quite a few people through that process, and we've also had a lot of folks from outside the district who have applied for our positions. Currently, we've already interviewed for a 4th grade position, and we have made a decision on who that person's going to be, but I'm going to wait until I get the okay before I make any announcements on that. We have started 5th grade and resource. We've been interviewing for a couple weeks, and we feel really good about the candidates. We have some really strong teacher candidates for those vacancies, and I feel as a principal that they're going to be great additions to our community, and they're going to help to kind of further what we're trying to do here and what my long-term vision is and all the different things that we want to put in place. They're going to be great assets. So from that standpoint, I'm very, very happy about where we're at. I feel like we are winning hiring season, if that's a thing. And we are competing with other schools for talented people, and our reputation is still very strong. And so I have the good fortune of being able to kind of say, well, wait a second, let's sit down and have a conversation, and people are wanting to listen, so that's really good. The last thing I'll say on that front is, for me, and this probably is obvious, but for a principal, hiring is one of the most important things that you can do, right? My aim in that front is to bring in people that can further what I think needs to happen in the school, to try to diversify as much as possible the staff, if that's something that we can do as well. And so it is going to be something that's extremely important to the legacy that I leave behind at Boulder Creek, so I take it very seriously. And we invest a lot of time in preparing for those things. Any questions on that stuff? Yes?
How about the honors teacher? Are you getting some applicants?
Yeah, good. Yeah, absolutely. The district kind of controls the interview and selection process, and I am a part of that as principal, but I don't have to lead it. So I look through the candidates, and we actually have a lot of really strong honors candidates right now. I have interviews set up today, tomorrow, with quite a few folks, and I'm really excited about the people that I'm seeing, the applicants that have applied for the position. For me, it's a great opportunity to kind of hit the reset button, and like I said, it's an opportunity to bring someone in who can grow with me as a brand new administrator and serve our students for a long term. I don't like the kind of turnaround that's happened, and some of those positions are the most crucial. Like, the hardest positions to fill in this district are, guess what?
Resource and honors.
Resource and honors. And those are two very important positions, and they're the hardest one to fill. And right now, the candidates that we're looking at for honors are very, very strong. And so I'm really optimistic about that. That's great, because I forgot to mention honors, so thank you. Yeah. For the .5 position, the vision there is they can only serve half the student population. I want them to serve the younger students, kinder, pre-K, first grade, second, and third grade, with computer literacy and making sure that they know how to navigate those systems, so when they get to third grade and they're being tested on the AZ Merit or AZ Mimics test or whatever it's called, that they are, AZM2 is what it's called, that they're prepared to navigate those systems and are ready to go. So that's going to be the focus for the halftime position, if we can get that filled.
Does that take away some of the in-class computer time then that the teachers are using?
No, it shouldn't be a conflict with that at all. Any other questions?
How would the computer time work? Would it rotate with specials or?
Yeah, it's a special area position, so we would have to look at the rotation and figure out what the best use of that will be. And I don't have a direct answer on that. We've talked a little bit about how it may look, but to a certain degree, I think, I want to make sure that we get a strong candidate first and see what their skill sets are, and then sit down and talk about how often they would go and visit that individual. But yeah, it would be part of that special area rotation. Yes.
So did we get this halftime position because our enrollment is up? Or
Yeah.
So in like, I don't know if this is the right time to ask that question, what does that look like overall for the school, like number-wise?
Right. So we did get that position because of a projected uptick in our enrollment. For instance, currently, right now, we have 4 5th grade sections, and we only have 3 6th grade. Well, just the number of students at 5th grade, you're going to need another section. So that's why we got the additional FTE for the 6th grade position. And our enrollment is anticipated to go up next year. Not anything too crazy, but basically like another class section, which would put us around 760 kids roughly, and I'm just estimating, so that's loose numbers. But it's enough to warrant that extra section, and once you have so many sections, that's how your special area FTE full-time is the district distributes based on your total numbers. So.
And how many students do we have this year?
Last I checked, we were about 748, 49. We were up as high as 755 for a little bit, and then some students have left. So I think we're in the high 40s. All right, staffing changes, and you probably will have, some of you may or may not have been aware, if you're paying attention to some of the messages that I send out, you can kind of know that there's been some movement already. But we basically, one of the things that I'm very passionate about is this idea of looping. It's something that I have done as a teacher, and my experience with it was so positive, so strong, that I walked away from the experience thinking that it doesn't matter if you're in a title school or a high SES school, it has benefits and it can benefit your students. When I walked into this job and saw that it was a school, immediately you kind of start thinking of how much more can you squeeze that lemon, right? How much more can you get out of that thing, right? And my vision is that, and I've said this I think on day one, maybe you might have a video, but I don't want to be just an A school. I want to be the best elementary school in this district. And to get there, we can't keep doing things the same exact way. right now, that's easy to do because you guys do a fantastic job in the community with your students. So our students come to us ready-made for success. Point blank, it's a fact. I worked at other schools very similar. So how are you gonna push it and continue to strive to get to another place or another step? Well, you gotta start thinking about things differently. And one of those things for me is looping. And so we have kind of unintentionally found ourselves doing that a little bit earlier than I expected because of the vacancies, because of the retirements. It was really important for me to identify strong teachers to replace some of our retiring teachers. I mean, we're losing Donna Plaza and Wendy Hannon, two teachers that have been teaching for a very, very long time, outstanding. And so it's not easy to just bring in a brand new teacher and say, okay, here you go. I didn't want to do that. I think that was going to be the best use of our talent. And so we decided to kind of move some people up the ladder. And as we did that, we kind of, in my opinion, I think we made our teams even stronger and set ourselves up for more success. So we've had pretty much one teacher from every grade level move up, with a few moving down. And with our vacancies that we were given from the retirement and the extra FTE, it kind of naturally played out in a way where we had one teacher that was kind of moving around. It wasn't intended to go that way initially, but when I saw it, I thought this might be a really cool thing. And one of the things about me is I'm not married to any ideas that don't work. So like when we sit back, one of the things for me is looking at data. The data is going to tell the story at the end of the day. And if the data says, wow, we saw some incremental increase, then it's a good thing. If the data says, no, our students crashed and burned, this was not good, then we maybe need to hit the reset button again and figure out how are we going to get the most bang for our buck. As it stands right now, I'm very confident that the moves that we made, like I said, made the team stronger, and I feel really good about that. And the long-term vision, and I do mean long-term, is that we formalize how we do our looping.